Welcome to Artificial Intelligence in Physical Education. I'm Nicole Davis, the Emerging Technology Specialist for the Maine Department of Education. And it's important to tell you that my presentation is in collaboration with AI because when we use AI, it's important to be transparent about it. Now you're all wondering how much I used AI. So in this presentation, I would say it's probably about 80-20 because I really leaned into AI for the prompts. So 80% human, 20% AI, and you'll see those when we get there. So, our agenda today is really just a crash course in ethical, responsible use. That way, you know how to use it as an educator and how you're using it ethically and responsibly. And also, if you're choosing to use it with students in some way, you're also making sure that they're ethical and responsible about it. We're going to talk about prompting, and then we'll also talk about some tools that you can use. This presentation has a QR code as well as a bit.ly, and it is case sensitive, so it's AIP_E. Remember that you are the expert in your field. So I'm going to provide the guidance around AI, but you're going to make sure that you're following the pedagogy that you know and that you're keeping the human in the loop. All right. So if you don't remember anything from this video, you want to remember to keep the human in AI, keep the human in the loop. And so we use an acronym for that. It's human. H stands for halt, where you really pause and you think about your AI use. Is this something that I want to use AI for? Is your outcome appropriate for the task? So not only are you pausing at the beginning, but you're part of the whole process and wondering, is this ethical? Is this what I wanted? U stands for utilize, where you're utilizing prompts to be effective or tools to be effective, not just having it do it for you as prompt and paste, but really thinking about it as a something that you're collaborating with to get the best output, and you're not using it to replace you, but enhance. M stands for monitor. We have to be careful because it will be inaccurate and biased. So we have to be aware of those things and kind of combat that in our prompting and the things that we do. The good news is it is getting better and better as far as accuracy, but we need to know that we have to check our information and our facts, and again, keep the human in loop. A stands for authentic. So how do I use this in an authentic way? How do I use it so that I have authentic experiences for my students? And then N stands for note. And I modeled this for you at the beginning where we talked about how AI is a part of my presentation. So how do I need to disclose that? Or also reflect on my use and think about how I'm using it. So we're going to do a quick kind of what is AI. This project is around Teachable Machine, and Teachable Machine is a Google product that you can use in the classroom. But here we're going to just do it on our slides. So I have a set of cats and a set of dogs. And if this were live, I would have you kind of give me some Captain Obvious, what do you notice? So I noticed that my dogs and cats have a varied color across the board. I noticed there are 8 cats and there are 8 dogs. I notice some of my cats are pretty fluffy and my dogs not so much. I notice that all my dogs are standing and all my cats are sitting. So as we observe this information, at the same time, the bot is getting this set of data. And we've told the bot that this is a cat, this is a cat, this is a cat, this is a cat. These are all cats, right? And we've told the bot that this is a dog, this is a dog, this is a dog, this is all a dog. And then what we're going to do is this dog in the middle, we're going to say, what is this animal? And I gave it away, right? It's a dog. And we know that because we have lots of information. We've been to the pound, we own dogs, we own cats, we've seen videos. So we have a ton of data to tell us that this is a dog. Our little AI system only has, whoops, it only has what we gave it. It has these cats and these dogs. So most likely when you say to the AI, what is this animal, this new one that we've brought into the picture, it's going to say that it is a cat. And the reason why is because all of our cats are sitting and all of our dogs are standing. And we gave it this new animal that is sitting when there are not a lot of other variety to kind of look at to distinguish between the two. It's also a little fluffy, and we don't have a lot of great examples over here. This, on the very basic level, is how AI works. It's trained by a set of data so that it can generate information and make a prediction of what's next. When we think about our human graphic and that first one, which is halt, we need to make sure that we're thinking about the information that we're putting in. And you're never going to put in personal identifiable information because it is training the machine. So we don't want to put that data in. We want to make sure that names, date of birth, address, phone number, social security numbers, employee identification numbers, all of those things should not go into the machine because we're training it. That's data that is personalized to students, and we want to be very careful of that. We also should be checking the privacy terms as well as the terms of service just to make sure that they align with our district. If you're not sure about this, you can always check with your tech people. So M was that monitor for accuracy. So here's a couple examples here where, a year and a half ago or so, somebody said, well, how many rocks should I eat? And the Google Gemini said, according to UC Berkeley, a geologist, you could eat at least one small rock per day. We know that's not true, right? And then over here, when your cheese is not sticking to your pizza, it says, add about an eighth cup of glue. These are funny examples, but it shows the idea that it can be inaccurate. It will hallucinating, meaning it will make things up. The good news is it's getting better. So it's not hallucinating as much as it did, but it still hallucinates. So we need to make sure that we're aware of that and make sure, again, that we're keeping the human in the loop so that we're checking our answers and thinking about the things that are coming out as outputs and not just accepting them for completely true. We also need to know that this machine can be, this AI system can be biased. So a couple things from Holly Clark, where she's got this explore board of kind of ways to check the bias, as well as kind of this chart here. It's also our responsibility as users of AI, responsible users of AI, that if we see bias or inaccuracy, that we're reporting back. So there's a lot of these tools have thumbs up or thumbs down where you can report that bias. When we're thinking about utilization and how we're utilizing our prompts, we use a framework. You don't have to use a framework, but using a framework will give you a better output. So we use Robot. So this is where we kind of go through, and the first thing we do is refine our purpose. You could absolutely ask it, like, when was World War II? And it'll give you an answer. But think about what can it do for you. So do you want to create a quiz, or do you want to create an activity or a lesson? Or do you want to know how you can make an activity more inclusive? Ask it to do something for you. Then you're going to optimize roles for depth, thinking about how, when you're using this, who do you want to be answering these questions? So you could say you're a kind and caring teacher. You could say you're an expert on whatever standards you have. You can have multiple roles. Think about who would you want if somebody was standing right across from you, who would you want in the room to answer these questions and help you to create this activity or whatever it is you're asking for. It stands for build-in checks for bias detection. So this is a place where we can meet that bias head on by using prompts and going back and forth with the machine and saying, how do I make this more inclusive? What perspectives are missing? I can do that right in my prompts. O stands for outline and ask questions. So this is where I might put something in there that says, hey, if you ask me any other questions to get the best possible output. O is also one that you can start with. So if you know I want to create a quiz on cells, you could say something like, I want to create a quiz on cells. You're an expert in the NGSS standards. Ask me questions until you have enough information to give me the best output. input. And then you're going to answer those questions and it's going to give you an output. And you're going to go back and forth with the machine. And then the last one, this test for self-improvement, ask the AI to rate its response, identify areas for improvement, and revise accordingly. So this is something like rate yourself 1 to 10 and justify your answers. So here are examples of how you could use robot for each one of those. In PE, there's lots of different ways that you can use this. This is just some, right? So lesson planning, finding warm-ups, universal design for learning, breaking down barriers, AI-generated games and activities, finding clues for motor and PE manipulative skills, assessment, and there's so many more. And here's that bit.ly again for this presentation if you need it. So when we look at AI tools, there's a lot of school tools that can also be used in the world of PE. I'll also share one with you that is more for PE, and we'll talk about that one a little bit. This is when you go to this presentation, you can actually click right on these, and it will take you to the tool. Also moving kind of to the next slide, we'll walk you through these. So School AI is a great tool. It has different places or spaces is what they call. And this is an example of a space where we've prompted it to say, how do you create lessons with universal design for learning? So basically, you'd go back and forth with the robot to say, can you help me make this more inclusive? Or can you help me develop this thing? And then it's going to go ahead and go back and forth with you and help you with what you need. There's all kinds of spaces that are provided. You could also create spaces for your kids. So it might be around the rules to a game, or it might be around something to make it more inclusive. So again, this is a place where you use your pedagogy to know about your content, to think about what might be helpful. Again, there's lots of spaces that are created, but you can also create your own space, which is very cool. Connected PE is one that a lot of my tools are, I would say all my tools that I suggest are free, or they have like a free option. And so when we look at that, it means that they give you it's robust, right? It gives you a lot until you have to pay. So a lot of the times with something like School AI, you've got with using it with students, you can only use it with so many students, or to export things. Sometimes that's where the pay line goes. Connected PE is unfortunately a paid one, but I wanted you guys to see this. There are a couple things that you can do to in there that they'll give it to you for free, but I wanted to let you know that it was out there. Magic School is a great one. There's lots of tools and prompts that you can do in here. So when I click on this, like I said, it'll go to Magic School. We're going to log in. And when you log in, you'll probably have to sign up, but there's all kinds of tools. So this is tool based. And so let's just do kind of a fun one. So if I was to do a song in Magic School, and I did a song creator, it's going to prompt us versus the other way around, where when we were talking about robot, we have to prompt the machine. So we might do rules around basketball. So how to score. And the more detailed you are here, the better your output is going to be. We could do how to rebound. And again, you're going to use your pedagogy for this. Let's see, how does or who wins? And then down here, you're going to pick a song. We're just going to pick what's there, because that way it's quick. And now it's going to generate a song. And what you could do with this is you could either play it for your kids, or you could have your kids sing to it. You could have them evaluate it. How did it do? Did it get all the lyrics and things like that? This does a fairly good job of matching it up to whatever song you put in. So that might be fun for students to sing and evaluate. Maybe ask them to put in another verse around something that's missing. So some fun things around there, but there's also other tools that could be very PE related. So when we come over here, coaching sports practice, an assignment scaffolder, rubric generator, custom chatbot, that's where you could make something. There's all kinds of things with like IEPs and accommodation suggesters. So that might be a tool that's helpful for you. We're going to go before we jump into this prompt. We're also going to check out Google Gemini. So this is a great place to put in one of those prompts. And actually, I said we're going to do this, but we're going to come back. I'm going to present and I want to walk you through just what's here and then we'll pick one of these. So when I look at prompts, there's lesson planning prompts here, thinking about, create a 30-minute PE lesson 4, put your grade level in, focus on this, include warm-up, skill development. So whatever it is your need, you're going to put those details in. And then when you think back to robot, you're going to go back and forth and collaborate and make sure that you might want to put that you are an excellent PE teacher. You're based on these standards or whatever it is that will fit kind of that mark to give it a perspective to pull from. Unit planning prompts, assessment, create a skill rubric with 4 performance levels, write a participation and effort rubric, classroom management and routines, create a 3-minute warm-up routine. I can use every day with blank grades. Differentiation and adaptation or adapted PE prompts, modify this game so students with sensory needs can participate comfortably. And then you'd put in the game. Creativity and game generation prompts, give me a small space PE game I can play in the classroom. Space and equipment constraints. So if you have barriers that you are doing, or maybe like your gym is under construction for a few days and you have to do it in a multi-purpose room, how do I make this one activity that I always do more appropriate for this so that that way you can modify that? Health, fitness, and SEL suggestions. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to pull, let's do this invent a new cooperative game that teaches a movement skill and works with minimum equipment. So I'm going to come over here to Google Gemini, which is also like ChatGPT. I'm going to put in my movement skills. So, and again, pedagogy. So you're going to know movement skills better than I am. So we're just going to put movement skill that teaches a movement skill. And then I'm going to say, whoops, I'm going to get rid of this. You are a kind and caring PE teacher. And I'm going to say, do this for grade 2 with 25 students and 3 students with sensory needs. And so we'll go ahead and do that and look at the output. And it's going to pull, addressing class dynamics. It's going to go through what it's doing, and then it will come out with an output. Again, you're going to collaborate back and forth. So whatever this pops up, whatever you like, you're going to go back and forth. So this is Moonlight Fireflies. There's a story. Students are fireflies who need to gather light to fill the moon. So very, very story-centric. Place a hula hoop, scatter bean bags. You could also do something like, I have these 3 pieces of equipment. How can I make a game out of this? If it's sleeping owl, so kind of fun. Inclusion, sensory strategies. So it's got all of that information, personal space bubble, teacher script. It asks you, would you like me to create a quick visual card, simple draw? Let's say yes to that just to see what it comes up with. So you can go back and forth. If you wanted something else, then you could also ask it to create that. So don't be afraid to go back and collaborate with the machine back and forth. So this is it's going to give you, this is a great idea. What do you want? And so let's see. Let's see. Can you do an image for box 1? And let's see what it gives us. And hopefully it gives it for that. But it's just kind of listed. Here's your visual cues. And then sometimes it just doesn't quite get the mark. So in this case, we've asked it to do that. And then we could go back and create the visuals for the other ones. Let's see what it's going to do. It might ask me some further questions of like, what is it that you want? But we'll see. Let's see what it does. As that is actually thinking, if it's not quick, we're going to come back here. Value, there we go. So there you go, 1 foot launch, so they can kind of see. And when you look back at this, this is said, like, draw a stick figure of a student. They are standing on only the right, blah, 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 their left knee, so that you could kind of see what this looks like, and hopefully it corresponds with the game. But again, if this is not what you want, you could ask it to modify it. So coming back here, I'll hit present again. These are there for you to use and add to and kind of modify. What I will leave you with as you are thinking about AI and your use in the classroom is something that I hope that you've heard before, is that we don't just use technology to use it, but we use it purposefully. And it's the same thing with AI. Don't just AI to AI, make it purposeful. Do it for something that's going to help you in your classroom. There is the main AI guidance document. Whoops, this shouldn't say coming soon. It should just say that you can click on this and check that out. We have office hours, which I will update so you guys have those. And then if you liked this video, you can give us a quick feedback. My email is also here, so if you have any questions or you want to check in with something around AI, I would love to hear your feedback. So thank you very much for joining me for AI and physical education. Thank you.